Money touches every part of our lives. It decides where we live, what we eat, how we dress, and even how we feel about ourselves. Yet for many of us, money is a source of stress, confusion, or even shame. We worry about bills. We argue about debt. We dream of security but are not sure how to reach it. In a world full of financial products, endless advice, and constant advertising, making sense of money can feel like standing in the middle of a storm without shelter. This book, Money Like You Mean It, is about finding that shelter. It is about giving you tools to understand money clearly, without jargon and without fear. The author, Alini, does not talk to you like a banker or a professor. She talks to you like a friend who has walked through the same struggles. She knows that most of us are not looking to become millionaires overnight. We just want stability. We want freedom to make choices without constantly worrying about survival. We want to know that our families are safe and our future is not at risk. The truth is that money is not only numbers. It is psychology, culture, and habits. Two people with the same income can live completely different lives based on how they think about money. One may always feel broke. The other may build wealth slowly and steadily. Why does this happen? Because our relationship with money is deeply personal. It is shaped by childhood memories, social expectations, and even hidden fears. Understanding these patterns is the first step to taking control. The book is divided into 9 chapters. Each one looks at a different area of life where money plays a role. It begins with the most important foundation, our mindset. Then it takes us through debt, housing, income, retirement, investing, emergencies, family responsibilities, and finally, how money connects across generations. Step by step, you will learn not only practical skills, but also a new way to see money as a tool for freedom rather than a source of fear. Imagine you are about to build a house. You would not begin with walls or windows. You would begin with the foundation. Without it, the house will collapse no matter how beautiful it looks. In the same way, financial knowledge must rest on a solid foundation. That foundation is not a calculator. It is not a spreadsheet. It is your mind. So before we learn about interest rates, mortgages, or investments, we must pause. We must ask ourselves, what do we believe about money? Where did these beliefs come from? Do they help us grow? Or do they hold us back? Do we see money as an enemy, a friend, or a mystery we do not want to face? If we start with the wrong mindset, no strategy will ever feel enough. But if we start with the right mindset, every other lesson in this book will make sense and fall into place. This is why the journey of Money Like You Mean It begins with the mind. Now let us step into Chapter 1, Mind Over Money. This is where we explore the hidden beliefs and emotions that quietly guide our financial lives. Because only when we understand our mind can we truly learn to master our money. Chapter 1, Mind Over Money. When we think of money, most of us imagine numbers, income, expenses, bank balances, budgets. But the truth is, our financial life does not begin with math. It begins with the mind. The author reminds us that before we can fix our money problems, we must understand how we think and feel about money itself. From childhood, each of us builds a set of money beliefs. Maybe you grew up in a house where money was always tight, and you learned to be afraid of spending. Or perhaps money was used to reward or punish, and you came to see it as a symbol of power. Some families never spoke about money at all, leaving children to grow up confused or ashamed when handling it. These early impressions sink deep. They shape how we save, spend, and invest, even as adults. The author calls this the invisible money script. It is like a story running in the background of our minds. Some of these scripts are helpful, like saving for a rainy day. But others are harmful, like believing that spending equals happiness, or that having debt is normal and unavoidable. Unless we shine a light on these hidden scripts, they continue to control us without our awareness. Changing our financial life, therefore, is not only about external action, it is about inner awareness. We must pause and ask ourselves questions. Why do I buy things I do not need? Why do I feel guilty when I try to save? Why do I believe that rich people are greedy, or that I will never have enough? Each answer reveals a hidden belief that has the power to either build or destroy our financial future. The good news is that beliefs can be changed. We are not prisoners of our past. The author suggests small practices to shift the way we see money. For example, instead of saying, "I am bad with money," try saying, "I am learning to manage money better every day." Instead of thinking saving is impossible, try focusing on small wins, like saving a little each week. Over time, these new thoughts build confidence. Confidence leads to action, and action creates real results. Mind over money also means connecting finances with values. If your values are freedom, health, and family, then your money decisions should support those. Every dollar is like a worker. You can choose to send it to build your freedom, or to waste it on something that does not matter. When your money aligns with your values, financial choices become less stressful and more purposeful. The chapter closes with a simple but powerful lesson. Your mindset is the foundation of your financial house. If you believe money is out of your control, it will always feel that way. If you believe you can learn, grow, and improve, then your financial story can change. The mind is the first tool we must master. But once we begin to think clearly, we quickly notice something else. Even with the right mindset, many people are crushed under the weight of debt. Debt is not just a number in a bank statement. It is an enemy that drains energy, limits options, and steals peace of mind. And yet, not all debt is the same. Some kinds can destroy us, while others can help us move forward. To understand this difference, we must dive into the next chapter. Chapter 2. Know your enemy. Debt is not created equal. Debt is one of the most powerful forces in our financial lives. It can either lift us up when used wisely, or crush us when it spirals out of control. The author compares debt to fire. In the right place, fire can cook food and keep us warm. But left unchecked, it can burn down the entire house. That is why the first step in dealing with debt is to understand that not all debt is created equal. Credit card debt is the most dangerous form. It often carries very high interest rates, sometimes 20% or more. This means if you buy something for $100 and do not pay it off quickly, you could end up paying much more over time. Credit cards create the illusion of easy money, but in truth, they are like traps waiting to snap shut. This is what the author calls toxic debt. It drains wealth instead of building it. Student loans, on the other hand, can be different. They may feel heavy in the beginning, but if education leads to higher earning potential, this debt can act as an investment in your future. The same applies to mortgages. When you borrow to buy a house, you are building equity over time. You are turning monthly payments into ownership rather than throwing money away. These are examples of debt that can create value, if managed carefully. The key is to separate destructive debt from constructive debt. Destructive debt includes credit cards, payday loans, and high-interest borrowing that never helps you grow. Constructive debt includes student loans, business loans, or mortgages that provide opportunities. But even constructive debt can become destructive if taken in excess. Borrowing beyond your means will always bring trouble, no matter what the loan was for. The author stresses the importance of paying down toxic debt as fast as possible. Carrying balances on credit cards is like walking around with a hole in your pocket. The longer you delay, the deeper the hole becomes. At the same time, she advises building an emergency fund. Why? Because emergencies force people to fall back on credit cards. If you have savings set aside, you can avoid digging yourself into debt when life throws surprises. Another danger is the emotional side of debt. Debt is not only financial, it is psychological. Carrying debt can create stress, shame, and even depression. It limits choices and makes people feel trapped. Breaking free requires both strategy and mindset. You must see debt as an opponent that you can outsmart. That begins with knowledge. One practical tip the author gives is to list all your debts, the interest rates, and the balances. This helps you see clearly which ones are costing you the most. Then, choose a repayment method. Some people prefer the avalanche method, where you pay off the highest interest debt first. Others prefer the snowball method, where you start with the smallest balance to build confidence. Whichever path you choose, the important thing is consistency and progress. The lesson of this chapter is simple but powerful. Debt is not the same everywhere. Some kinds can open doors, others slam them shut. Your job is to recognize the difference, avoid the traps, and manage borrowing as a tool rather than a chain. Once you do this, you can move toward true financial freedom. But this leads us to the next big question. If debt can sometimes be useful, when is it most useful? For most people, the largest debt they will ever take on is for a home. Housing decisions shape our entire financial life. They determine not only where we live, but also how much we can save, invest, and plan for the future. That is why the next chapter takes us deeper into this life-changing choice. Chapter 3. Everything starts with housing. Housing is more than just a place to sleep. It is the biggest financial decision most people will ever make. Where you live, how much you spend on it, and whether you rent or buy will shape almost every other money choice in your life. That is why the author calls housing the starting point of personal finance. For many, the dream of home ownership is deeply emotional. We are told that buying a house is a sign of success, stability, and adulthood. But the author warns us not to follow this dream blindly. Owning a home can be powerful, but it also comes with risks. Before making this choice, you must ask the right questions. Can I afford it? Is my job stable? Am I planning to stay in the city for many years? If the answer is no, then buying may not be the best option right now. Renting, on the other hand, often gets a bad reputation. People say renting is throwing money away. But this is not always true. Renting gives flexibility. You can move for work opportunities, avoid property maintenance costs, and save time. It can be a smart choice if you are not yet ready for the responsibilities of ownership. The important thing is not whether you rent or buy, but whether the decision matches your life goals. When buying a home, the costs are more than just the price tag. There is the down payment, the mortgage, the property tax, insurance, and constant maintenance. A leaky roof or broken furnace can cost thousands. If you stretch too far to buy a home, these extra costs can trap you in debt. This is why the author stresses the rule of affordability. Buy only what you can realistically handle. A house should give you comfort, not chains. The author also explains equity. When you pay rent, the money goes to the landlord. When you pay a mortgage, part of it builds ownership in your home. This equity can grow over time, especially if property values rise. For many families, a house becomes their biggest source of wealth. But again, this wealth is not guaranteed. Housing markets can crash, leaving owners with debt bigger than the value of their homes. That is why housing should be seen as a long-term commitment, not a quick investment. Another key idea is location. The right location can make a house valuable. The wrong location can drain your resources. Buying the cheapest property may save money up front, but can cost more in safety, commuting, or poor growth. A smart housing decision balances cost, location, and long-term potential. The emotional side of housing is just as strong as the financial side. A home represents family, identity, and belonging. But emotions should never cloud judgment. Many people buy homes larger than they need because they feel pressured to keep up with others. This creates a financial burden that lasts for decades. The author's advice is clear. Choose a home that fits your needs, not your ego. At the end of the chapter, the author reminds us that housing is the anchor of money life. Get this decision right, and many other financial choices will fall into place. Get it wrong, and you may struggle for years to recover. Housing is not just shelter. It is the foundation on which the rest of your financial house is built. And this foundation leads us to the next step. Once you understand the role of housing, the next question becomes, how do you increase your income so that you can afford not just a house, but also freedom, security, and growth? This brings us to the heart of the next chapter. Chapter 4. Making money like you mean it. Earning money is something we all do in some form, but the author argues that most people do not earn money with intention. They go through routines, collect paychecks, and spend without thinking about the bigger picture. Making money like you mean it is about treating money as a tool, not just a flow of numbers. It is about making conscious choices that build freedom and stability. The first step is understanding the power of income. For many, the focus is always on saving or cutting costs, but savings can only go so far. You can cut your expenses, but there is a limit. Earning more, however, has no ceiling. That is why boosting your income can create the biggest impact on your financial journey. The author suggests learning to negotiate your salary. Too many workers accept whatever is offered. But research shows that people who negotiate often earn thousands more over their lifetime. Asking for a raise, upgrading your skills, or moving to a better paying role are all ways to make money like you mean it. It is not about greed. It is about fairness and growth. She also highlights the importance of side hustles. In today's gig economy, there are more opportunities than ever to earn extra income. Freelancing, consulting, teaching online, or even creative ventures can add streams of money. These streams provide security if one income source fails. They also speed up progress toward goals like paying off debt or saving for a home. But making money like you mean, it is not just about earning more. It is also about how you use what you earn. Think of every dollar as an employee. If you waste it, you are letting that employee sit idle. If you direct it towards savings, investments, or education, that employee starts working for you. The goal is to send each dollar to a task that supports your values. Budgeting is the main tool here. A budget is not a punishment. It is a plan that gives you control. The author encourages people to align budgets with values. For example, if health is a priority, spend more on nutritious food and exercise. If travel is important, set aside money for trips. When spending reflects values, money decisions bring joy instead of guilt. Another lesson is the balance between today and tomorrow. Many people either live only for the present, spending recklessly, or they sacrifice everything for the future, living with constant restriction. The author suggests a middle path. Enjoy life now, but also prepare for tomorrow. Making money like you mean, it means creating harmony between short-term happiness and long-term freedom. The chapter also touches on the emotional side of work. Money is not the only reward. Job satisfaction, learning, and personal growth matter too. But ignoring financial value is also risky. The sweet spot is finding work that supports both your well-being and your bank account. The main message of this chapter is empowerment. Do not drift through your working life. Take charge. Negotiate, upgrade, diversify, and plan. Treat every paycheck as a stepping stone toward the life you want. That is what it means to make money like you mean it. And once you start earning with intention, another question arises. What about the long run? What about the time when work may slow down, or when you want to stop working altogether? For many, the idea of retirement has been built on myths and outdated promises. That is why the next chapter pulls back the curtain. Chapter 5. The Big Fat Retirement Myth. For decades, people were told that retirement is the ultimate goal. Work hard for 40 years, save a little, and then stop working at 65. This is the picture painted by society, movies, and even some financial advisors. But the author calls this the Big Fat Retirement Myth. The truth is, this model no longer fits modern life. Pensions are rare. Social Security may not cover all expenses. People live longer, sometimes decades beyond 65. Healthcare costs rise with age. Inflation erodes savings. All these factors make the old retirement plan unrealistic for most people. The author explains that retirement is not a single point in life. Instead, it is a financial transition. Some people may choose to work part-time in older age. Others may start a business, volunteer, or pursue creative projects. The key is having options. Financial independence is about choice, not a fixed age. One of the biggest mistakes people make is delaying savings. They think, I will start saving later. But waiting even a few years can drastically reduce wealth over time. This is because of the power of compounding. Money invested early grows faster than money invested later, even if the later amount is larger. The earlier you start, the more freedom you will have. The chapter also challenges the idea that cutting expenses alone will secure retirement. While frugality helps, income growth and smart investments are far more powerful. Relying only on reducing spending is like trying to reach a mountain peak by crawling instead of climbing. Both effort and strategy are required. The author highlights the importance of creating a retirement plan tailored to your life. This plan should account for realistic expenses, potential healthcare costs, and the lifestyle you want. She stresses flexibility. Life is unpredictable. Your plan should allow for changes, whether in career, location, or personal priorities. Rigid thinking can lead to panic or poor choices. Another common myth is that retirement is purely about money. In reality, retirement is also about purpose. People who stop working without a sense of purpose often feel bored, anxious, or even depressed. The author encourages planning for meaningful activities that align with values and interests. Money alone cannot create happiness, but it can give the freedom to pursue it. The chapter closes with a clear message. Retirement is no longer a finish line. It is a stage of life that requires planning, preparation, and ongoing attention. You must take responsibility for your future. Do not rely solely on employers, governments, or luck. Financial independence is earned through conscious choices and long-term action. Once we understand that retirement is about planning and freedom, the next question arises. How do we grow our money to secure that freedom? How do we prepare for both expected and unexpected expenses? This is where investing becomes essential. Learning about investing is not optional. It is a crucial tool for building wealth and protecting the future. Chapter 6. Learning about investing, not optional. Investing is no longer a choice. It is a necessity. Keeping money in a savings account is safe, but over time, inflation eats away its value. Without investing, your money will lose power, and your long-term goals may become impossible. The author emphasizes that learning about investing is a critical step toward financial independence. The first lesson is understanding risk and reward. All investments carry risk, but the level of risk varies. Stocks offer higher growth, but come with volatility. Bonds are safer, but grow more slowly. Diversification is key. Spreading money across different assets reduces risk and stabilizes growth. The author introduces the concept of index funds. These funds track the performance of a large number of companies. They provide growth potential without the need to pick individual stocks. Mutual funds and ETFs work similarly. They allow investors to benefit from market growth while limiting exposure to a single company's failure. Compound growth is another powerful idea. Even small amounts invested regularly can grow significantly over time. For example, investing just a little each month can turn into a substantial sum in 20 or 30 years. The earlier you start, the more powerful compounding becomes. This is why waiting to invest can cost you far more than you might imagine. Investing is not only about money, it is about mindset. The author warns against trying to time the market. Chasing trends or following rumors can lead to losses. Instead, a steady, disciplined approach works best. Think long-term. Invest for decades, not days. The chapter also covers retirement accounts and tax-advantaged options. These accounts allow your money to grow faster because taxes are reduced or deferred. Understanding the rules and benefits of these accounts is essential for maximizing growth. Even if you cannot invest a lot initially, starting small is better than waiting indefinitely. Another important point is education. Many people feel intimidated by investing. They think it is only for experts or wealthy people. The author reminds us that knowledge is accessible. Books, online courses, and financial advisors can help. Learning the basics empowers you to make decisions confidently. Investing is also about aligning money with your goals. Risk tolerance, time horizon, and life plans should guide your choices. For example, someone saving for a house in 3 years should avoid high-risk investments. Someone saving for retirement decades away can afford more risk. Understanding your personal situation is critical. The chapter closes with a strong message. Investing is not optional. It is the tool that allows money to grow, protects against inflation, and provides security for the future. Without investing, even careful saving may fall short of long-term goals. Learning to invest wisely is the next essential step in building financial independence. And once we start investing, we must also prepare for the unexpected. Life is full of curveballs, job loss, illness, or emergencies. Even the best investments cannot protect us from sudden financial shocks. That is why the next chapter focuses on preparing for life's uncertainties. Chapter 7. Prepping for life's curveballs. Life is unpredictable. No matter how careful we are, unexpected events can arrive at any moment. Job loss, illness, accidents, or global crises can disrupt even the best financial plans. The author emphasizes that preparation is the key to surviving these curveballs without falling into debt or panic. The first tool for preparation is an emergency fund. An emergency fund is a financial cushion that covers 3 to 6 months of living expenses. It is not for luxury purchases. It is not for vacations. It is strictly for unexpected events that could otherwise create financial chaos. Having this fund gives peace of mind and protects long-term goals. Insurance is another essential layer of protection. Health insurance, life insurance, and disability coverage are not optional. They are tools to prevent financial disasters. Medical emergencies or sudden accidents can cost thousands or even hundreds of thousands. Without insurance, these costs could wipe out savings and push people into debt. The author stresses understanding policies and choosing coverage that fits your life stage. Beyond money, prepping also requires mindset and flexibility. Life rarely goes exactly as planned. Rigid thinking can lead to stress and poor decisions. Being adaptable allows you to respond effectively when circumstances change. For example, a sudden job loss may force temporary lifestyle adjustments, but with planning, it does not have to derail long-term goals. The chapter also covers risk management. Some risks are unavoidable, but others can be mitigated. Driving carefully, maintaining good health, and keeping documents organized are small steps that reduce exposure to bigger problems. Financial tools like emergency funds and insurance further minimize the impact when risks do occur. Another key lesson is the importance of continuous review. Your financial safety nets must evolve with life changes. As income grows, expenses change, or family responsibilities increase, emergency funds and insurance coverage must be updated. Preparation is not a one-time event. It is an ongoing habit, a constant commitment to resilience. The author also highlights mental preparation. When emergencies happen, fear and stress can lead to rash decisions. Knowing that you have a plan, savings, and protection allows you to act calmly. It transforms uncertainty into confidence. This confidence is as valuable as money itself. The chapter concludes with a clear principle. We cannot predict life perfectly. We cannot control every event, but we can control how prepared we are. By building emergency funds, maintaining insurance, and staying adaptable, we protect our finances and maintain freedom. Once we are prepared for life's curveballs, another dimension of money arises, sharing it with others. Relationships, partnerships, and raising children bring new responsibilities and financial decisions. This leads naturally to the next chapter. Chapter 8. Sharing money and paying for babies. Money changes when we share life with others. Whether in a partnership, marriage, or parenting, financial decisions become collective rather than individual. The author emphasizes that communication, planning, and shared values are essential to navigate this stage successfully. The first lesson is transparency. Partners must talk openly about income, expenses, debts, and goals. Hidden financial habits or secrets can create conflict and distrust. By discussing money early and often, couples align priorities and prevent misunderstandings. Transparency is the foundation of shared financial health. Next comes budgeting together. Joint expenses, household bills, and savings goals must be planned collectively. The author suggests creating a system that works for both partners. This could include shared accounts for common expenses while maintaining personal accounts for individual spending. The goal is balance. Shared responsibility without losing personal autonomy. Having children introduces another layer of financial planning. The costs of raising a child are significant and long-term. From prenatal care to education, housing adjustments, and daily living expenses, money decisions become more complex. The author encourages parents to plan early, save consistently, and prepare for unexpected costs. Emergency funds become even more crucial when children are involved. Insurance and protection also gain importance. Life insurance ensures that dependents are supported in case of unexpected events. Health coverage must be expanded to include family members. Disability insurance protects against income loss if one parent cannot work. These protections create security for the entire household. The chapter also discusses financial values. Children learn habits by example. How parents handle money, spending, saving, and giving influences the next generation. Teaching children about money early builds responsibility and awareness. It also reduces financial stress later in life. Debt management becomes a shared responsibility too. Couples should agree on how to handle existing debt and avoid taking on unnecessary liabilities. Aligning debt strategies reduces tension and ensures long-term financial stability. Another important point is planning for life milestones. Education, first homes, vacations, and retirement must be considered within the context of shared finances. The author encourages setting realistic goals and revisiting them regularly. Flexibility and adaptability are key because life rarely follows a fixed plan. The chapter concludes with a core principle. Money is a tool for relationships, not a barrier. When shared thoughtfully, it strengthens partnerships and creates security for families. When ignored or mismanaged, it becomes a source of stress and conflict. Intentional planning, open communication, and shared goals transform money into a foundation for love, growth, and stability. Once we understand how to manage money within families and partnerships, it is time to look at the broader picture. Money is not only for our household. It also connects generations, inheritance, and the legacy we leave behind. This naturally leads to the final chapter of the book. Chapter 9. All in the Family. Money is not only about our personal life or even our immediate household. It extends across generations. The choices we make today affect our children, grandchildren, and even our wider family. The author stresses that understanding this intergenerational impact is a crucial part of financial wisdom. One of the first lessons is about inheritance and legacy. We must think beyond our own needs. This includes not only passing on money, but also values, knowledge, and habits. Parents and grandparents can teach financial responsibility, investing principles, and the importance of saving. A healthy family culture around money is as important as financial assets themselves. Family dynamics can complicate money matters. Expectations, differing values, and emotional attachments often lead to conflict. The author advises creating clear agreements around shared assets, gifts, and responsibilities. Open communication prevents misunderstandings and resentment. Transparency is as valuable in extended family finances as it is within a household. Education plays a central role. Children who understand money grow into adults who make informed decisions. The author suggests teaching kids about saving, budgeting, and investing early. Even simple lessons, like giving an allowance with responsibilities, create a foundation for financial independence. By educating the next generation, we reduce the risk of repeating financial mistakes. Family emergencies are another important consideration. Parents or grandparents may need support during illness, retirement, or other challenges. Planning ahead, both financially and legally, ensures that family members are cared for without creating financial chaos. Insurance, joint accounts, and clear wills are tools to protect everyone. Philanthropy and giving are also addressed. Money can strengthen family values when used for helping others. Whether donating to charities, supporting relatives, or teaching children to give, thoughtful sharing reinforces lessons about responsibility and purpose. The author highlights that generosity, when planned, enhances family unity rather than causing financial strain. Another key lesson is balancing autonomy with collective responsibility. Each family member must manage personal finances wisely while contributing to shared goals. This balance prevents conflict and builds long-term stability. It also models healthy behavior for younger generations. The chapter closes by emphasizing that financial planning is never just about today. It is about building a legacy, creating opportunities, and ensuring stability for future generations. Money, when managed intentionally, becomes a tool for freedom, growth, and family security. The author encourages readers to think holistically. Personal finances, household finances, and family legacy all interconnected. The final message of the book is clear. Financial independence is not a dream reserved for the wealthy. It is achieved by intention, knowledge, preparation, and alignment with values. From mindset to debt management, housing decisions, earning, investing, emergency planning, and family responsibilities, every step matters. Each choice compounds over time. By taking control and learning to manage money like you mean it, anyone can create a life of security, freedom, and opportunity. Money is more than numbers. It is power, freedom, and peace of mind. It is a tool to live the life you want and to leave a legacy that matters. This book shows the way, step by step, chapter by chapter, from understanding your mind to planning for generations. By following its guidance, you can turn intention into action and action into lasting results. Money Like You mean it is not just a strategy. It is a mindset, a lifestyle, and a promise to yourself and your family. Thank you for joining this journey through Money Like You Mean It. We have explored mindset, debt, housing, earning, investing, planning for emergencies, sharing with family, and building a legacy. Every chapter builds on the last, showing that financial independence is not luck. It is intention, action, and knowledge. If you found these insights valuable and want more summaries, tips, and strategies to take control of your money and your life, make sure to subscribe. By subscribing, you will never miss a guide that helps you make smarter choices, grow your wealth, and create a life of freedom and security. Remember, the journey to financial mastery starts with one step, one decision, and one intentional action. Subscribe now and keep learning how to manage money like you truly mean it.